Now, all that's left to do is... What the heck? Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and in today's video, we're back in Vehicle Simulator, and in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the Titanic II. So yeah guys, let's get into the video. Alright, here we have the Clive Palmer Titanic II model. We're also in Southampton, which is a little fitting, and yeah, so this looks really interesting, and we're going to be comparing the Titanic II model by Clive Palmer to the original Titanic. But first, we're going to go ahead and sail out of Southampton. So, yeah, here we go. Alright, now starting in the wheelhouse of the Titanic II, it is significantly different than the original Titanic. As you can see, it's been widened, and there has been a new doorway added into the now enclosed bridge. So you have a historical style bridge, and then you have a more up-to-date advanced version of the bridge here. Usually you would see this on cruise ships and whatnot, but here we have it on the Titanic II. So let's go ahead and get started here. Go ahead and get the engines moving, and then we'll slowly throttle up here. So yeah, here we go. Alright, so looking under the water here, you can see the... What the... Okay. So as I was saying, the Titanic II is actually powered by 3 azipods. Now, these are basically propellers that can actually turn, and they basically replace the rudder in some form here, and it basically makes it so the ship can turn faster. It adds for better maneuverability, and most cruise ships have them today. So yeah, there we go. We have those on the Titanic II. Now, you may have noticed, Titanic II actually has an extra deck. Now, this extra deck is planned to hold the lifeboat station, as you can see on the side there, as well as theaters and casinos. So, more of a traditional cruise ship interior on that level. But the rest is somewhat going to be historically accurate to how it was in real life, having the grand staircase, the dining room, obviously the cabins and whatnot you can stay in. So yeah, now will this project come to fruition? I don't think so. I think that this is just all talk and no game. Now, you may have seen a Titanic replica being built, and that is kind of a Titanic II, not really. It's a museum ship being built in China for a theme park, and it is unknown how accurate their interiors are going to be, but it's clearly visible by what they've already built that there is a very minimal shear, or any shear at all, and there is large openings in areas where there shouldn't be large openings. But again, it's a theme park. It's not supposed to be 100% historically accurate, and also it's not going anywhere. It's not actually a ship. It's really classified as a building. So yeah, now the closest Titanic II has come to being Titanic II is test models, as far as I'm aware. They have done some test models where they have actually checked how the hull of the ship would perform in heavy seas and regular conditions. There is some video of it online, but I haven't heard of or seen anything really happening regarding Titanic II. Again, it's really been all talk and no game. There's nothing being built. And that doesn't mean that it's dead, but it just means nothing's happening right now as far as we are aware. So yeah, I think it's really only in the talking phase right now, the planning stages, if it really is happening. But luckily we do have the Titanic II in game. Now, I should mention that this is free. You can download this from Alex's website, which I'll have in the description below. So yeah, go ahead and check that out. Now, this is a really nice view here. Unfortunately, it is completely destroyed by the sound of the engines. Not quite sure if they're supposed to be that loud, but they are very loud in game. And I do have to say that this looks really nice. This is a great recreation of Clive Palmer's planned model for Titanic II. And yeah, we'll get into that in a little bit. Right now we are sailing the ship out to open waters. But yeah, we're going to be comparing it to the Titanic. So yeah, here's another great view of Titanic II making its way down the channel here. And yeah, so one interesting thing I am noticing is on the third funnel, we are putting out a bit of a darker smoke just in the aft part of the funnel. Not quite sure what that is, but I'm pretty sure that's the actual exhaust from the diesel engines below, because Titanic II is planned to be run off a diesel engine. So yeah, more like a traditional ship of today's time. So it makes sense that it would be just putting out smoke from, well, one funnel. The rest is, I think it's just for show. Well, we are now leaving Southampton, and we will be in open waters soon. So, yeah, let's go ahead and skip to when we are in open waters, and we have the Titanic and the Titanic II right next to each other. So, yeah. Alright, so here we have both Titanic and Titanic II side by side here. And, yeah, this is really cool. But let's go ahead and take a look at some of the differences. Alright, so the main difference with the Clive Palmer model of the Titanic is that extra deck for the lifeboats. I mentioned this earlier. But, yeah, Titanic II has extra lifeboats because, as we all know, Titanic didn't have enough lifeboats for everyone on board. It did have enough lifeboats for the legal requirements. It actually had a few extra. It had 20 lifeboats in total, but unfortunately, it was only there for about half the people on board the ship. But that is not to say that if they overloaded the boats, they could have gotten a little more than half off the ship. So, yeah. Now, the second major difference with the Titanic II is the stern, mainly the bottom portion. I really don't need to say more. I mean, I think you can tell that it's significantly rounder. I mean, if we look at the regular Titanic, you can clearly see it perfectly blends in to that rudder. It looks beautiful. And then you go back over to Titanic II, and you get something that looks like this. Now, I don't personally like it. I don't think a lot of you guys would like it either, but I'm pretty sure the engineers know what they're doing. They have done water tests with the vessel, as I mentioned earlier, and I guess that's just how it works. I guess that's just what's more hydrodynamic nowadays. So, yeah. Now, let's talk about that bow shape. We talked about the stern just a moment ago, and now it's time for the bow. So, as you can see, it's kind of just one angle. There's barely any pinching in anywhere that you would see on the original Titanic. It's kind of just flat, as you would see on a regular cruise ship. Well, this isn't a regular cruise ship. This is a recreation of the Titanic. So it has somewhat of a Titanic bow, but if we go look at the regular Titanic, you can see that it nicely pinches in the center and then evens out and slowly comes to a point at the bottom. It's beautiful, it's nice, and it is just traditional of White Star Line ships. I mean, you see this a lot in White Star Line vessels, and yeah, it's just really nice. Now for the rest of the boat deck. So everything here looks okay so far. Alright, that's a little interesting. There are some seats put here. But here's what worries me. I mean, if you look at this here, I can't help but laugh at this overhang. I guess to get some shade, but if you wanted to get some shade, why wouldn't you just go inside? Seems a little interesting, but I'm pretty sure that this is on the 3D model that they do have for the proposed Titanic II, so yeah, really, really interesting. Titanic never had this, but obviously they put it on Titanic II, which is interesting. Obviously, you may notice the stairs going up to the funnel. I'm pretty sure there would be access inside the funnel because this is not a real funnel. This is actually radar. Here, if we go over here, you can see there is radar in here. Actually, this is a real funnel. There's exhaust here, but it's not like a traditional funnel that would let out exhaust fumes from the engine. It would probably just be from kitchens, bathrooms, or whatnot, all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, as you can see, we have two radars in the funnel. We've got the stairs leading up, and making our way aft. This is the only real functioning funnel that I've seen so far on board. Saw it a little earlier where it was actually smoking out some darker fumes instead of the traditional white puffs of smoke that we were seeing for the rest of the funnels. The first two, I should say, because correctly, they don't have this one actually smoking anything really visible. So, yeah, very nice. So far, nothing sticks out to me on these promenades here, and if we actually go forward, you'll notice something very odd. Well, first, we don't have a forward cargo hold right on the well deck, and this wall is completely flat. Now, if we go back over to Titanic, you'll notice, obviously, we have a forward cargo hold, and we have some indentations in the forward wall that goes under the forecastle deck. So, yeah, as you can see, very interesting, and I don't know why on Titanic II they have this all flat, but they do have the double portholes here, which I guess I can give them some credit on. Now, one thing that does stick out to me is this box located forward of the skylight and aft of the forward funnel. Just above the officers' quarters, I should say. And, yeah, I don't really know what it's used for. It could be, a crew area, but it looks a little small for that. And anyway, the crew area would be in here, and obviously the crew space down here. And, yeah, I really don't know what it's used for. It's kind of just the mysterious box. And I know that this actually comes from the original 3D model of Titanic II, which was made for Clive Palmer's promotional video. So, yeah, really don't know what it is. Now, let's take a look at the second class entrance here on B deck. Is this accurate on Titanic II? So this is what Titanic's B deck entrance looks like. So let's go over to Titanic II's. Let's take a look at this here. And yeah, minus the signs, it looks pretty accurate, so that's good. Alright, so that has been Titanic and Titanic II there. So we're going to go ahead and crash them into each other, because I think that's appropriate for this situation. The propellers on the Azzipods are moving and moving quick, and the ship is now gaining some speed towards the original Titanic. So, here we go. Passengers are really enjoying their time on the deck of the Titanic, and if they look over to their left, they'll see a very, very interesting sight. A time-traveling Titanic II from the future. Very, very interesting. Here we go. The collision is about to occur between the Titanic and the Titanic II. Here we go. And boom! There's the collision between the Titanic and the Titanic II. So, it is now pushing it, and, oh my gosh, yeah, it's starting to roll. It might, yes it is. It is going down. Look at that, folks. Yep, look, there's the damage. It is going to the bottom. The Titanic is sinking by the stern, interestingly enough. And there it goes. Oh my gosh. And there goes the funnels, there goes the bridge, the bow, and it is gone. So if we look underwater here, there goes the Titanic sinking to the bottom as the Titanic II sails overhead. So, yeah, now all that's left to do is... what the heck? Alright, folks, I really don't know what's going on, but this is definitely satanic. I mean, really, somebody's gonna have to call an exorcist right now. This should not be happening. We are sailing right through the Titanic. I mean, what is this? How is this physically possible? You know what I was saying earlier when we crashed the 1930 Olympic into like the 1911 Olympic? I think that's what's happening here, where space and time is colliding and we are merging into one ship. Yeah, that's definitely what just happened there. Oh my gosh. I think we're just gonna go ahead and sink Titanic II, so yeah. Alright, Titanic II is now beginning to sink, and I just noticed we have those bow thrusters as well on board. I don't even know how to take this seriously at this point. I don't even know what to say, but this is quite an interesting sinking. As you can see, we're rolling over to one side, sinking pretty level here, a little bit by the bow. And, yep, we're heading to the bottom as the Titanic II. And, there go her decks, her funnels, and then her masts. So we'll follow her down here. As you can see, she is heading to the bottom, and boom, right to the bottom. So yeah, there is Titanic II, the Clive Palmer model, not the film version. But yeah, that has been really cool. So we got to experience sailing the Titanic II. We got to see the differences between the original Titanic and Titanic II. And then we got to crash them into each other, have some weird stuff happen, and then sink both ships. Well, sink Titanic II, because Titanic somehow survived. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed, make sure to leave a like and a comment, and I'll see you next time, guys. Goodbye.